RT Talent LLC, and I'm here with Miss Cameron Morris. I'm so happy to be here with her today. So make sure y'all know what to do. Like the video, share the video, tell somebody we are about to have a live interview, and we will be back in a few seconds. So while we're doing what we do, please again share the word. Share the word. All right, here we go. Here we go. So, Cameron, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. What about yourself?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So, who is Kameron Morse? How would you describe yourself?
Cameron is a lot of things. She is a very empathetic person. She's a creative person. She's a CEO. She's the head of her department at her full time job. She's a full time student, a daughter, a granddaughter, friend, you name it. She's a lot of things put into one.
Got you. What is one of the first things that you would say you love about yourself?
I would definitely say my empathy for people and how I implement that in everything that I do when I interact with students on my full time job or when it comes to participants in my nonprofit or just anytime that I interact with somebody, I always make sure they're comfortable or just share positivity.
Got you. So, let's talk about that nonprofit. How did you start the nonprofit?
Right. So founded my nonprofit of November in 2022.
Mhm.
I am, how can I say this? So I started my nonprofit because I'm a strong believer that sometimes God allows us to go through certain situations so we can, tell our testimony to help other
Mhm.
people. So I started it because I had a rough experience at college. I had a great experience, but the transition, it took me a little bit longer than um a, a couple of my peers, and just seeing like what I went through now post college, I'm like, I really need to implement something to help students, especially in my community in Danville. So now I have the Kale Morris Foundation, and our goal is to create a safe space full of opportunities for youth, adolescents, and college age students in the areas of mental health and education.
Got you. So KLM Morris. Well, KL Morris. Tell us exactly what does that stand for.
So of course it is my initials. Cameron L. Morris Foundation, and I thought because it's I'm telling my story through my nonprofit, what better name to give it than my own name?
Okay, got you. So, what would you say is like more of the hardest part of being the CEO, the founder, and balancing your work life and understanding when I say that you are basically the head at your job as well. So, how do you balance those two crucial roles?
At first, when I first started this job, I it was a little bit of an adjustment. I will say that, but I always schedule. So from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. it's all Avery University, which is my full time job, and then I don't spend too much time because you have to get rest. But
Mm-hmm.
I try to spend at least 4 hours creating new ways to engage with the youth in the community. I think of new events that I can have or even speak to a couple of my social media managers about what do they think is the best way to approach students. What is something that they feel like it's a hot trend in education or mental health in the college community? Because all of my social media managers are actual college students. They do it through an internship with me, so it's kind of cool to get their ideas, what's new, what's hip, even though I'm not old, but sometimes I feel like I'm out of date and out of like the trend because I'm not in that college age anymore. So
Mhm,
so
mhm.
yeah, those are how I manage it. Just schedule, making sure that I prioritize everything if I know I have an event, so make sure I spend time on that specific event.
So you got any events coming up?
So I'm actually in the process of creating a webinar, or I may even do it in person. I don't know yet. I'm still talking to some of my board members about it. Called U University. So I used to be in the missions council. That was actually my first job out post college. And one thing I noticed, a lot of students choose their university or their 4 year home based on the big things. So sports, the academic program, but never about the other qualities that go into picking a college. So what type of on college activities they have, off campus activities. So I want to give the students and the parents this information of, when you choose your college, make sure that it fits in every single aspect that you have, because a 4 year public university may not be your fitting place. It may be a 2 year community college, it may be a private institution. So I just want to help the students kind of get that extra step and look deeper into their decision, because this is where their parents are going to be spending their money for 4 years.
Mhm.
Also, this is going to be their home for 4 years. 10 months out of the year, this is where they're going to be. So I just want to give a little bit of some jewels and some information just to help them pick that college.
And that's important because I look back over my years. I had someone actually come up to me and say, Terry, you talk a lot about Virginia State and how long you been out of college. And I'm like, listen, I had a great experience, but not
Hmm.
only that, after school, we stayed connected. So,
Hmm.
I have a computer science degree, but at the same time, my family at Virginia State is my family, and we
Yeah.
stay connected. And one thing I would like to add is, well, you got to know who you are, and you're
Hmm.
going to grow. And that's the point of college. You're not going to be the same person you was when you was a freshman when you went.
Exactly.
So you want to grow, but the main core of you, if you don't follow that and you be trying to find other ways, it's going to
Hmm.
hunt you down. When you get into that core, it's like, I'm here. I got it. I found
Right.
something else. So yes, because I joined campus ministry choir, but it was also VSU gospel chorale. And it's like, I want to go over here. And that's when, a lot of love came in for Virginia State too, just because of that pathway of knowing your core. So I love it. I love it. I love it. So I was looking on some things and I seen you did the webinar last year online around
Hmm.
previously. So is this like a coming back return? Let's give you some more, or this is a complete different idea from that previous webinar?
This is definitely a comeback. So last year was pretty hectic. As you know, I was living in Lynchburg, and I had to move back due to family health issues. So I had to move back, and it was very crazy moving back. And then I started my master's program. So I had a lot of things on my plate. So I was still working on my nonprofit. But as for events, I didn't have as much time as I usually would when I was living in Lynchburg. So I spent a lot of that time adjusting, but this is definitely a comeback. I'm really, really excited. Now that I've gotten adjusted to being in Danville again and adjusted to my new job and other things that I have in my life currently, I'm definitely excited about getting back, coming back stronger, coming back with more creativity, more ideas. And I also got the opportunity to interact with a lot of students on the college campus that I work at, which is Avery
Mhm.
University, and also high school students. So I got to see what's new, what's needed, and I'm really, really excited about all the events that we have coming up. I'm collaborating with some partners in Danville, some churches, so I'm really, really excited to say.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So, um, when you have your moments, because we all have them when we're tired and our
Yes.
head is swelling and we want to bookshelf some things. What is your inspiration? Like, nah, people out there need this, so I got to keep going. What is your inspiration?
It's so funny that you said that, because I recently had one of those moments. And
Okay.
sometimes with everything on my plate, I do get overwhelmed. I do get very tired. but one of the students at my college had came to me, like he was having like a really really bad day, and for that moment I put everything to the side and I'm like, okay, this student needs me right now. And
Mhm.
in my office I have this board that I allow my students to write, like, messages or anything that they want to. And he literally wrote, I saved his life. If it wasn't for me talking to him and like literally listening to him, he wouldn't have stayed in college. So that right there is the inspiration itself, because getting that feedback and getting that response, is seeing the impact you leave on people's lives, that gives you that inspiration. And then of course my ultimate inspiration besides the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ is my mother. Anyone that knows my mom's a very ambitious, hardworking individual. So seeing her and how hard she works, she gives me inspiration. She inspires me so, so much to keep going, because no matter what's thrown at her, she's always pushing through. So I'm like, if she can do it, I can do it too.
That's true. That's true. That is very true. So, how do you be intentional about shining that light? Like, how do you shine that light intentionally?
Can you elaborate really quickly? I'm sorry. I'm still in
Okay.
the
No,
work mode a
you
little bit.
okay. So a lot of times people be like, I don't have no light. But you have a light. And Cameron, I watched you grow up. So I had the pleasure of watching you grow up. And the light is still there. So how do you walk into the room and still share that light? And I know sometimes we be like, but we are. So how do you make sure you are intentional by walking to that room and making yourself available, shining light, keeping a smile on your face when you don't feel like it?
The way that I'm intentional, I always make my presence known by always standing tall. And I feel like people feed off of your energy. So even if I'm tired, I always want to make sure that I leave a room with positivity. So I walk in with a smile on my face, greet people, make a couple people laugh. I've always been a goofy person. So like if I see someone down, I'm like, hey, what's wrong with you? You all right? So like kind of just getting the room happy, joyful. So I'm always talking to people, being an extrovert, and just sometimes you have to reach out and lend a hand, because people may not want to come to you directly, but if you make the first move or like the first action, they'll follow through and they're like, okay, maybe this person's kind of cool. Like I like their energy, it's
Mhm.
making me feel better.
So, how do you plan on making your nonprofit continue to make your nonprofit like the first move for people to hear you out? So, when I say that, if I hear like three or four choices to go, how would you make sure your nonprofit be the first one I want to go to? I have it in front of my face so I could come to your nonprofit.
First things first, always be authentic, and like
Mm,
don't try to oversell it, because sometimes I feel like, and this is no discreditation to any organization, profit, for profit or nonprofit, but sometimes when you oversell something, it can sometimes be overwhelming for somebody. So it's almost like be that authentic person, and it all starts with a conversation. Like when my job has given me the opportunity to go to conferences
mhm,
for my current position, and I feel like God play push you in the right place at the right time. And as
definitely.
I was talking to people about my full-time job, we start talking about how mental health conversations are needed, and that's when my nonprofit started to roll in. And that's how I got so many collaborations with people. So just like having starting off with a conversation, not being afraid to put yourself out there, but don't overdo it, because if you hype yourself too much, then you're setting a standard that like, oh my gosh, it's huge, and then it's like, be authentic, but don't oversell it. So I one thing I will say is I talk to people in the community, talk to people at the elementary schools, middle schools, high schools. Always find that one representative from each of those categories, and that will help make a chain reaction. So I do believe that I have several people in different levels of education, different levels of mental health, because I'm also a qualified mental health professional as well. And my before I worked at Avery, I worked at a mental health agency for the therapeutic day treatment program. So I
Okay.
already got connections through there as well. So just having those connections and having that one representative to make a chain reaction is what I plan to do and continue to do.
I like it. I like it. So, how would you describe your networking? I know you got the networking piece down. So, if you had to encourage somebody or give somebody advice, how would you encourage them to continue to network or even to start networking?
The worst thing they can say is no, but don't take that no as the end of the world. And the reason why I say that is because when I first started networking, that was my biggest issue was that no, like it's never going to happen, and it just means not right now or not with that person. Because sometimes we'll try to connect with people that God's telling us this is not the person I have for you to connect with. So even when you get that no, take that no as not the right person. Just continue just to implement, be more creative, or always get feedback. So if someone says no, can you elaborate why you feel like this is not the best option at the moment? And they can give you feedback and you can work on that. So when you ask the next person what the first person gave you feedback on, you've already fixed. So I will always say take the no as a not right now or not the right person, and not as no, it's never going to happen. That's one piece of advice I would definitely give.
So, how you bounce back from the no's when if it's a no?
Um
If it's
Yeah, so I've definitely had several no's in the beginning. I will say that, and I still get some no's, which is okay. But don't take the no's personally because
mm,
it's not you as an individual. It's just maybe what you have may not fit what the person's looking for. So if you know that, and you're like, okay, like you can go back, get the feedback, like I said, and then even just evaluate yourself. Like, okay, how can I make this better? Like like what approach could I make differently than what I did before? You all is always room to grow. Even when you get yes, it's still room for growth. So just always reevaluate to see what can I do better, what can I tone down. So just it's almost like tuning a guitar. Like sometimes you have to write notes, but every now and then we have to tune the strings.
yeah,
So
that's true.
just continue to implement, continue to work, and continue to evolve as a whole.
So working on your nonprofit for about 4 hours when you get home, that's a consistent thing throughout the week, or you give yourself a break one day out of the week, or it's a go, go, go up until Sunday.
So I definitely give myself my goal is to work on my nonprofit for at least 3 days a week. At least three
Okay.
days a week. And like get one day off. So between 3 to 4 days a week, Monday through Friday. So when Saturday and Sunday hits, those are rest days. So I
Okay.
don't do any work on those days because I want to take a break from working because I have to make sure that I'm having a balance in my life and that my mental stability is in check. Because
Hmm.
if you're mentally unstable, how can you expect yourself to provide these resources and provide an example for the people that you're reaching out to? So I try to do it between 3 to 4 days a week. But I always give myself Saturdays and Sundays off.
Got you. Got you. That grace, making sure you give yourself that grace Saturday and Sunday.
Absolutely.
Got you. So kudos to yourself. How do you feel like you grew since you started this foundation up until now? And then even if you want to take the preacher, how do you feel like your foundation grew if you don't want to put the spotlight on yourself? Because I know you.
Um, I would
So how do
definitely
you want to
say,
do it?
well, I could do both.
Okay.
So I feel like the nonprofit has helped me grow in a variety of areas. When I was younger, I was kind of an introvert. So like I was always shy. Like even when I was singing in church, there would be times when my grandma would tell me to sing, and I'm like, "Who, me?" So
Yeah.
I feel like that my nonprofit has helped me step out of my shell when it comes to communicating with people, having those conversations, being able to present in front of people. So I feel like it helped me grow in that aspect, and I'm more vocal, I'm more outgoing. How my nonprofit has grown, like I said, we're always evolving. Com- Kind of going with the trends in life, like when it comes to education, what's new in mental health, what are the new statistics, what's the new data. So I feel like it's always going to be evolving, trying to keep up with the trends that come out so we can reach all of our participants and reach our audience in a very creative way.
Gotcha. Do you plan on expanding, hitting in different topics with your nonprofit organization at any point, or
I'm
no?
sorry, can you repeat that?
Do you plan on expanding your nonprofit organization to hit different services?
Yes. So if you look on my website, there are a couple of programs that I have right now. So Cam's Cave hits like the kind of like the group talk about like mental health issues or issues like such as anxiety, trauma, being bullied at school. And then you have the Swag Academy, which stands
Okay.
for Student with a Goal Academy, that handles like the education. And then you have Mind Over Matter, that is for all students who are um in extracurricular activities, to keep that balance. But of course, majority of those participants are student athletes, in
Okay.
college or in high school. So we have a variety of programs. I do have some other programs that I'm working on.
Okay.
Specifically talking about etiquette, how to be a young lady, how to be a young man.
Yes.
I'm working with a couple of partners in the Danville community to help me implement that. So I got a couple of things coming that I'm excited, and the goal is to have them implemented by the end of this year.
Okay.
And the pace that it's going, it looks like that's exactly what's going to happen. So look out for that.
Yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up. So if somebody walk up to you and ask you, Cam, what do you like the best of this nonprofit organization journey? What would be one or two things about the nonprofit organization journey?
Definitely the growth, and then of course the impact. Because you can have all of these programs, you can have all of these opportunities, but it's the impact that keeps everything going. Like seeing the results of the efforts that you put in is always rewarding. Seeing how students feel that this is helping them, maybe mentally or academically, it really warms my heart. And that is the main reason why I keep going with this nonprofit, because of the impact it's leaving in the community and how much it's helping.
That's so sad. Yeah, the impact is huge, especially in 2024. It's about to be 2025 very soon. Do you believe it's April, about to be May already, and the year just started?
No, not at all. And so in my full-time job, I'm in charge of creating orientation. So I'm in charge of planning the entire orientation process. And when my supervisor and I first talked, it was January, like, okay, you got to plan for Roar. And I'm like, okay, like you're not gonna take my time, which I always get the things done ahead of time. But
Mhm.
then I looked on my calendar and it was April. I said, where did the time go?
Yes,
Like
where does
it was just
time go?
January.
Yes, yes. And I said that too because it's important with your nonprofit organization. We tend to feel like we have all this time in the world, and you look up and you really don't. And I love the fact that you say you're about to come with how to be a lady, how to be a man eloquently. I love it. I love it because one day we're babies, one day that you see somebody grown up, one day they're 5, 6, 10. Next time you see them, they're grown. It's like, where the time went.
Yes.
And like you were saying with the impact, you let the time go by, and are you being intentional to impact somebody so they can be the best person they can be? So
Right.
that's important, and kudos to you because I definitely see your growth, and I'm so proud of you.
Thank
Just want to make sure I
thank
tell you
you. That means a
that.
lot.
Yes, yes. So, with your nonprofit organization, do you feel like you would mentor other people to start the nonprofit organization so they could know the ropes of things? What are the things they want to make sure they cross the list they have? Do you feel like you would do that one day?
I will say this, because that is actually something that my mother does as well. She has her own coaching and consulting business. So
Okay.
I definitely see a collaboration with that to help young women as for myself to do something like that, start the foundation, like help them know the first steps of creating a nonprofit, leaving an impact. So I definitely have to, give my mom some props and give her her flowers. And it's called WPM Coaching and Consulting. So yeah, I'm gonna put that on my nonprofit page. So if people want to start their nonprofit, because she actually helped me. And she does not charge much at all. She's very great. She's very hands on. So shout out to Wendy Morris on that as well.
Yes. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. So, what is one thing that you would say while you on camera for the ones that's looking to go that route? What is one of the must have they want to make sure if they out there, on the ball looking for it already? What is the most have? Must have
When you say must have, do you mean mentally or like physically?
the process. The process
Uh,
of getting the nonprofit organization. And then I love that. We could talk like mentally too, as far as the preparation.
Um, I would definitely say have a outline.
Okay.
Um, so that's actually how I started mine. I created an outline of what was my target audience, what do I want to accomplish in my nonprofit, what are some things that I feel like are crucial and important in the community that I'm reaching out to, how
Hmm.
far. So pretty much write a blueprint of what you want to do, who do you want to. So your who, your why, your where, your when. Make sure you have that out before you start anything. Because if you just go blindsided, it's probably going to start on rocky foundation. So it's always good to have a plan. Now, as for mentally, and also time management too. Make sure you set time because it is a tedious process. So you want to make sure that you're setting time aside to do it and focus on it, just on that. Mentally, I would definitely say you got to have determination, but you also have to have resilience. You have to have, I'm trying to think of the word. You have to be willing to hear those no's.
Okay.
And like you have to have tough skin because when you first
Mm.
started out, you're not going to get the answers that you want. You're not going to get the results that you want to see then and there. And most importantly, you got to have patience. Starting a nonprofit or obtaining or upholding a nonprofit is not an easy process. It's going to take time. Like for me, I was planning my nonprofit since I was a junior in college, and I didn't officially like finish like the final product until 2022. So it's going to
Okay.
take a minute to like get it done. So you got to have patience. And only God knows the true pace that you need to go. So you can't argue with what God has because when God's ready for you to do your purpose, He will set it out for you. But you got to have patience within it.
Patience is a virtue.
Yes.
Patience is a virtue. Love it. Is there anybody? I know you shout out your mother, but is anybody that you like to shout out or re shout out?
Um, I'll say well, shout out to the crew, my top five, my mother, my aunt Maxine, my grandma Edith, my papa Mac. Like though well my top four, those four set the foundation for me. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be the young lady I am today. So I'm truly grateful and blessed to have such a strong foundation and family that has molded me into the young lady I am today.
Shout out. Love it. And you're a beautiful young lady. So, yes,
Thank
job
you.
well done. Job well done. All right,
Thank
people.
you.
So, you heard it from the founder of KLM. No, KL Morris. Girl, I'll be trying to say for your Morris, but KL Morris Foundation. If you're looking for somebody to help you start an organization, you know where to find her. I'm gonna have her drop her social medias, and we're gonna make sure we post the social medias over this description as well. So, Cameron, where can they find you at?
So for my nonprofit, we are on YouTube. Um, we're on X, which used to be called Twitter. We're on TikTok and we're on Instagram as the KL Morris Foundation. So you can follow me on any of those platforms. And then on my personal, I am on Instagram as K dot L underscore Morris. So just hit me up. I'm also a public speaker and a certified instructor as well. So I can certify people on childhood trauma as well.
Okay. So, anything else you would like the people know about you, their organization, any other hats
I
you
think
wear?
leave with a piece of advice. Don't stop. If you have a dream, if you have a goal that you want to reach, don't let anybody tell you that you can't reach it. Like, as long as you have God, as long as you have trust and believe in yourself, that is all that you need to get something started. You're never too old, you're never too uneducated. You can do it. So if you want to do it, do it.
Do it. Go for it, right?
Mhm.
Go for it. Love it. All right, so you heard from my girl, Kameron Morris. And thank you guys for tuning in. You know what to do. Share the videos, share the live, like the live. Go like some pages, Instagram, Facebook, all that good jazz. So, you know, you be the best person you can be, which is help somebody out along the way, which by supporting, supporting, continue to get the word out about this nonprofit organization and let people know about it if they do not know. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you guys soon. And happy, what is it, Tuesday? Yes, it's
Mhm.
Happy Tuesday. So happy Tuesday. Y'all be safe the rest of the day and enjoy the beautiful day. Bye bye.